Good morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to Follow the Dogie. I'm Daisy. I'm a certified yoga instructor. This is Waffles. She is our registered Dogie. Not technically registered, but registered with the Association of Do It with Daisy. Um, so we were actually going to do a whole nother hip sequence today, but something happened yesterday that I thought would kind of make a really great opportunity to share. It's just kind of like I don't necessarily want to say a learning moment because it was more of like a reminding moment. Um, but essentially, what happened was last night, yesterday evening, Waffles asked with her talking words buttons over there to go on a doga walk. She said, "Doga walk," and we do go on these doga walks where we'll go on a walk, and every time she sniffs, then I'll stop and I'll do a little bit, like just a little bit of asana, just a little bit of stretching, just a little bit of movement. And but the thing is, when she asked at 6 o'clock last night, it was very, very, very hot. We are in the midst of a heat wave here in Washington State. So temperatures were in like the upper 80s, whatever they were. I didn't look at the thermometer, so I really don't want to lie to you and tell you something that I can't verify. But whatever the temperatures were, whether it was the 80s or 90s or whatever, way too hot to have a dog outside. So needless to say, I did not take Waffles on a doga walk yesterday. And we did do lots of play around the house earlier in the day, but it wasn't until later that she asked to go for a walk. And what I realized in that moment was I was like, this is just another great example of how doing what's best for our pets often leads to us doing what's best for ourselves. Let me grab a little water. The bottle that I thought I had is not there. Okay, that's all right then. So when we're talking about what's best for animals, it's not necessarily what they want all the time, right? Like Waffles wanted to go on a walk in blistering hot conditions, which would not be good for her. That could cause heat stroke in her. But quite frankly, it wouldn't be good for me either. Like this is added dehydration and exhaustion and fatigue. Like these are things that we don't necessarily need to subject ourselves to for a very, very light amount of exercise. And what I found was best then, Waffles, lay down. Yeah, you can chew on that. She has a honey jar. So what my compromise was that I would take her on a walk first thing this morning, which is actually like one of my favorite things to do. And it's really, really good for us as humans to get outside first thing in the morning before we're turning on lights and before we're looking at screens and before we're doing all of the human-y type stuff with all of the artificial environments that we create. It's really, really good for us and our circadian rhythm and our body and our metabolism and everything to spend a little bit of time outside walking around underneath the sunshine. Whether it's actually sunshiny or not, that part does not matter. What matters is that you're exposed to the natural circadian rhythm of the rest of the world first thing in the morning. So I found that by telling her no, by telling my dog, no, we're not going to do what you want. We're going to do what's best for you. I was also telling myself, no, we're not going to give in to whatever the dog wants. We're going to do what's best for us. That sound good? She's like, what? Does that sound good? Are we going to do doga soon? You want to do some doga tricks? Can I have a kiss? Yeah? Okay, come over here. Honey, no, you're not going over there. I need you in here. Come here. I need you to be easily accessible. Can you sit? I'm just going to lay down. Perfect. So this kind of leads into really what symbiotic living and animal assisted yoga is all about. Because, we've talked about symbiotic living here and on my Do It With Daisy channel. And, that goes between movement and also extends to food and making sure that we're eating balanced meals and allowing our animals and caring for our animals and feeding our animals and giving them balanced nutrition, allowing that to serve as a reminder that that's important for us too. So when we think about everything that we do for our animals, if each time that we make the extra effort for them, we take a second to pause and think about how it affects us, we give ourselves the opportunity to grow with our animals. We give ourselves the opportunity to care for ourselves the same way that we care for them. And that is so crucial, because we cannot show up for our animals on the level that we really want to, or anyone, whether it's our animals, whether it's our family, whether it's our friends. We can't show up for anyone on the level that we want to. We can't be the people that we want to be for them if we're not fulfilled, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if our needs aren't met. And that's what led me to coining the term symbiotic living, to creating this format of animal assisted yoga, because I found that, when you're not in the mood to exercise, especially me, I don't want to do anything, but I will not neglect my dog. I will play with my dog. And then what I started to realize is, why do I deserve less? I don't. And neither do you. You do not deserve less than your animal. Your animal, that doesn't mean that your animal is less than, or that they deserve less than you. It means that you deserve just as much love, just as much care, and just as much attention as you give to your animal. So my challenge to you is this: every time that you put a little bit of energy into caring for your animal, look at exactly what it is you're doing and consider, is that something that you could use as well? Whether it's giving them a little scritch, could you use maybe a little bit of dry brushing or lymphatic massage, something that makes your physical body a little more refreshed? And in doing so, your soul feels a little more refreshed. When you're feeding your dog, when you're giving them a treat, this is actually one of my favorites, because I used to overfeed her and underfeed me. So when you're giving your dog a treat, can you take a second to pause and think, when was the last time I had a snack? Is this a healthy snack for my dog? Is this too much food for my dog? Have I eaten enough today? Have I eaten healthy foods like I'm feeding my dog? For example, Waffles loves broccoli and carrots. So I will give her broccoli and carrots quite often. It's not as easy to remember to eat those things myself, even though I know that they're so healthy for me. And broccoli is my favorite vegetable, my favorite of all the vegetables. But I don't remember to feed it to myself, even when I'm giving her a treat. So I have to challenge myself to that as well. I have to challenge myself when Waffles asks for broccoli or carrot. I have to remember, I need food too. I need nourishment. I need these snacks, and I deserve a treat too. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite so rewarding as a human, as an animal lover, as sharing with your animal. So when broccoli asks for broccoli, when Waffles asks for broccoli and we do share it, then it's like such a fulfilling, fun activity for me. It makes it feel like a game, and you can see how much more engaged she is. So there's really no downside, you get to feel better about yourself. You get to feel better about what you're putting in your body, and you get to have more fun with your animal. They get to have more engagement with you, and it's just like all around good times, right? So, there's a couple examples of self-care. Another one that I do want to talk to you about, though, is movement. because our bodies do need movement, and it's so easy. It's so easy for us to just be couch potatoes, right? Like, how many different streaming services are there now? And there is always something phenomenal to watch. It's always so easy to just sit down and relax and watch TV when you don't have 20 million responsibilities all piling up in your head. What's hard is to take those spare moments and turn them into movement. That doesn't mean you can't watch TV. You can have, like, there's usually room in your room, in the living room, wherever you're watching TV, there's plenty of room to do movement. You actually don't even need that much space. And in fact, the activity that Waffles and I are going to be demonstrating for you today requires very, very little space. It literally just requires for you to be able to stand up in front of your TV and enough room for you to spread your legs a little bit. Maybe step one forward. Those aren't necessarily the movements that we will be doing, but that gives you an idea of the amount of space that you need to be able to practice movement. And when you're practicing movement with your animal, then they're also getting this mental engagement. Now, there's also the other way that you can do it, or like essentially you can do both. That's what we do is when Waffles wants to do tricks, then I will have her join in my practice. And when she wants to play, then I intertwine my physical asana practice with her play. So that brings me to the other portion of how we can practice animal-assisted yoga and how that helps us to take better care of ourselves simply by taking care of our animals. Because like I said before, I'm not much of I love movement in the sense of exploring and hiking and playing with my dog, but I've never been one for structured movement, for structured physical exercise. And what made me fall in love with yoga was actually doing it with my dog, treating it as like a platform for tricks. And these tricks that we're doing are, they're partner postures, they're very interactive, and that makes them more fun for both of us. But then when we go and I play tug with my animal, it's really easy to hurt yourself. It's easy to throw out a muscle. It's easy to pull a muscle. And what you can learn by practicing asana with your dog, first by practicing with tricks, and then starting to integrate the movements that you do during those tricks into your tug sessions. Once you become more familiar with the sensations in your muscles and what feels right and what feels more dangerous, what feels like it's not right, that's not the direction your body wants to do or a movement that you want to go. And once you've developed strong habits as far as protecting your body too, which would mean when your dog is vigorously tugging, then you are relaxed or just completely releasing the toy. And you are not vigorously tugging at any point. You're bringing more attention to your muscle awareness. These are things that it makes the tug game itself even more fun for you as a human because it adds a layer of challenge. It's essentially like tug level 2. If you were to turn tug with your dog into a video game, then this would be the next level. And what makes you want to keep playing games? Getting to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. So you really get to take something that didn't have an end goal and didn't have a target, and you get to turn it into something that you can continually grow in, you can continually improve in, and you can continually keep exploring new methods. So without further ado, I want to show you one of the exercises that I recommend to all of my friends who have very, very active jobs, especially those who work in retail. And I know for a lot of people my age and older, and I'm 35. A lot of people my age and older that I know who work in retail get very sore hips because, you're standing literally all day and you're walking around literally all day. So other than a half hour break at some point of time for 8 hours, you're standing the whole time, which for humans in general is natural. But we don't raise our bodies that way. Like, we don't condition our bodies to be able to maintain that sort of endurance in the part of your body that holds everything stable and keeps everything moving. So today I wanted to share with you this very simple, very quick movement that has helped a lot of my friends to maintain comfort throughout their workday and to come home pain-free. It's very, very simple. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you two versions. Okay. I'm going to show you what I show my friends who may or may not have animals, but either way, we never start with animal resistance. That's like going to the gym and pulling a random weight off the bar and then doing all the exercises before you even try the movements without the added weight. So let's go ahead and pop this up a little bit. I want to make sure you can see all of me. All right. Yes, my love. She's a mom. Mommy better get my zoots. Better get my zoots. Stay. Actually, can you please come lay on your bed? Just like barely on it. All right. Good girl, stay. So, hang on just a second because I don't feel like you can see me very well. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. I want to make sure you can see my whole body. Okay, there we go. Should we turn this on? Will that give you guys a little bit more? I think, is that better or worse? I think it's about the same. Okay, so what we're gonna do, bring your feet all the way together. This is a really good starting point. So when you start in Tadasana, you can either have your feet about a hip width apart, or you can have your feet all the way together. Unless it's uncomfortable for you to do so, I would love for you to try to bring your feet all the way together. I love starting like this because you can get a really good idea of the direction that all of your joints are pointing. And it gives you kind of like a starting point as far as developing sensations, because you can recognize the direction that your feet are pointing. We all naturally have a different stance, right? And our feet kind of point various degrees of outward or inward, depending on our natural stance. So when we bring our feet all the way together and we bring the backs of our legs all the way together, it creates this line to where we can see make sure you squeeze your thighs and your glutes towards each other, because as you do that, you'll notice that your knees point the same direction as your toes. So this gives us an idea of what that feels like in our bodies when our knees and our toes are pointed the same direction. You can sort of play with bending your knees here if you'd like to explore that more. But what we're going to do for this particular activity is we start with our feet all the way together, just so that we can sort of recognize that, and then lift your right leg. So you're just kind of lifting your knees straight up. This is creating flexion in your hip. So your hips can move in a few different ways, right? They can flex, they can abduct, they can adduct, and they can rotate. So we're going to do a movement that moves our hips through all four planes of motion. That way we can kind of warm them up and waken them up and get them really like, there isn't a direction that they can move throughout the day that's going to be shocking or surprising to our muscles right here. So feet together, lift your knee up, and then you're gonna turn it outwards. See, we've got this external rotation here. And notice as we do that, we're also abducting our leg further away from our midline. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and just lower your leg, right? We've got slight adduction there, and we've got slight extension, because as we lower our leg, it is getting closer to the midline here. It's lowering this angle, but it is also lowering, as we move it out, it's also lowering this angle. So from here, this angle, as we lower it down from the hip, actually, you know what? You'll be able to see from here better. Okay, so when we start to lower it down, we're creating extension here, all right? Because the leg is moving further away from the abdomen and closer to the spine. So lower the leg, and then we're gonna draw it in. As you draw your leg in, you're creating adduction, and you're also flexing a little bit. So we're just kind of, and then you'll go ahead and come back to neutral, right? So that's a little more, that's it, some internal rotation, more flexion, and more adduction. So as we move through those motions, we're not doing anything crazy difficult. We're not doing anything crazy time consuming. All we're doing is we're just waking up our hips. We're just saying, hey, hips, know what you can do? You can flex. You can rotate. You can abduct. You can extend. You can adduct. And by going through these motions, then we reduce, before we start a day of continuously using the hips over and over and over all day long, creating fatigue when the hips never got properly warmed up. By doing this first, we reduce risk of injury and we reduce risk of strain, which is going to create a lot more comfort for you. Now, we're going to go ahead and run through this one more time, and Waffles is going to help me demonstrate how your dog can help you. All right. So, Waffles, come. Waffles, come. You want Zooks? Come. I should have grabbed vegetables. Lick only. Good girl. That's what you are earning. All right. So first thing we're going to do, lift your, nope, Waffles, come. Waffles, come. I need your help. Good girl. She doesn't like when I talk to other people. All right. Lift your knee, Waffles, and ask for your pet's assistance. Another way that you can ask for your pet's assistance is by playing with them here. Off. Whether that's playing tug, sit. Good girl. Lick. Now wait. Whether that's playing tug, playing with like a flirt pole or a cat toy or whatever else, it's going to add dynamic movement. It's going to add resistance, equilibrium. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to have your pet put their weight directly on you, because it creates a deeper challenge for the aspect of balance. All right, ready, Waffles? Come on, babies. Waffles, over here. Yeah, we do doga, and you get treats, and you're going to earn some more rice and zucchini. Yeah, pause. See, hard to challenge. Oh. Ready? We're going to try it again. Pause. Good girl. Good. So you can ask your pet to get off, or you can rotate your hips while they're kind of following you around like you saw Waffles do. Now, if you ask them to get off, then go ahead and move your hip and then your knee outward, and then Waffles, Waffles, pause. Over here. Good girl. All right. And then if you want to rest it against your leg, just make sure that you're not pushing your heel into your knee. Good girl. It reduces strain on your knee. And you're not likely, yes, honey, I will make you a carrot. You've been so good. Would you rather pumpkin? Do you want pumpkin instead? You want carrot. Okay, I will make you a carrot. So we're going to have zero risk of injury if we're not pushing against that knee. Specifically, we're going to have zero risk of injuring our knee if we're not resting our heel or pushing our heel into that knee. So whether that means like if you need a little more pressure to balance, you can push it into your calf or you can push it into your thigh. You just don't want to push it into your knee. All right, Waffles, you help me even out and then we'll go get you a carrot. Deal? Come. Ready? Pause. Good. Good girl. And pause. Good girl. Yes. Off. Good girl. And then you just drag your foot right back in and come back to neutral. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to get you a carrot as soon as we sign off. Sit. All right, well, since it doesn't look like there are any final questions, although where is my, oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, that's cool though. I can't see the comments though. I want to make sure that that I'm answering any questions that you guys have. But I don't see my comments area. Okay, well, I am having a hard time finding these comments because they're not where they usually are when I'm streaming. So I very much hope that that there's no one left confused, but I am going to, yeah, let's see here. I need to see the comments. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm very sorry, folks, but I don't know where oh, you know what, though? I bet I could open this stream from another thing just to make sure, because I don't want anyone to be left confused or not have their questions answered. So I am going to go ahead and pull this up on, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on another device so that I can see if there are comments that I'm not able to see here. Let's go into this. Okay. Okay, no comments. So since there are no final questions, I would just like to say thank you. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and get this one, her carrot that she asked for. And we will see you guys next week for another live animal-assisted yoga class. We keep them pretty short. We keep them down to 20 to 30 minutes. 20 minutes is the longest we ever have a practice because that's about as long as Waffles' endurance lasts for her endurance and attention span lasts for these. She's usually pretty worn out because animal-assisted yoga takes a lot of physical and mental energy from your dog. So we're never going to have a class longer than 20 minutes unless I have multiple animals that I'm working with. And I definitely recommend keeping your sessions with your animals at home short. If you're practicing and you enjoy a really long sequence of like an hour or so, just include your animal for a small portion of it. Like, think about what their favorite interactions are, what your favorite interactions are, and include them for those bits, but then allow them to, go do their own thing or rest or whatever they typically have done in the past when you do yoga during the rest of your practice. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you like this post, share it with a friend. Make sure you're subscribed because we come back here every week with new animal-assisted yoga. We will see you guys next week. Oops, that's not it. How do I stop this? Okay, settings.